Okay, so we're going to continue on with this mess. I just outlined the rules for this 50 BMG project. The reason I think it can be interesting for you to watch is because Harold Vaughn taught me a thing years ago that he called ye old engineer's trick. What that means is if you want to test something and you're having trouble finding everything, you're having trouble because how do I put this? The results that you want are lost in the noise, and that's surprisingly common. It starts out the minute you start trying to shoot for accuracy. You start going, okay, is it me? Is it the wind? Is it the load? Is it the gun? Is it what is it? Why am I not getting these groups that I think I should get? And the answer is a whole host of things. So we have to start eliminating things. So the old engineer's trick means to exaggerate everything. And I'm realizing I've been wanting to do a 50 BMG deal for a long time. I've never built a 50 BMG. I've had parts kicking around for some time that I'm gonna supposedly build something with. And now I'm gonna finally do it. And the reason I'm gonna do it, and the reason that it works right now, is because it's relevant to what we're doing here. We're gonna do some things. The old engineer's trick is to make the problems bigger. Well, it's hard to make problems bigger than 50 BMG. Taking this huge gun and bringing it down to a useful size parameter, bringing it down to something you can carry in the woods, is problem number one. Well, maybe problem number one is getting a gun to shoot. No 50 BMGs out there really shoot well. And then, of course, we have to make the thing shoot a bull so that we don't hurt ourselves. So we're going to start with the 15-pound paradigm. What I've chosen to do is I'm going to build two guns. I'm in the process of building two guns. This is what I've been doing the last couple of weeks when I haven't been able to shoot and continue on with the stuff that I had going. A number of years ago, I bought a Noreen. This is a Noreen action. And I've got paperwork here that shows the weight. The problem is that this is like a 3.5 pound action. When I first started down this road, the problems that immediately became apparent and right up front were that all of the stuff out there is hugely, way beyond anything I can use, heavy. The bad action is like 12 pounds. I don't know. The old, at one time I started putting one together, and I didn't start. I started weighing and putting together the ideas, and I could get a hold of a McBrose action. I had all the way through as I go through. The first time I saw an action that kind of fit in my parameters was this Noreen Firearms, and I'm peering around here because I've got a paper somewhere that shows the weights, but for whatever reason I set it aside. So I actually think it's right here. Maybe while I'm talking I'll see if I can get it out, because it would be interesting to know some of these weights. I think this might drawings of the inletting of the building of okay. Shoot. No, I don't. I don't have the weight of this action, but this barreled assembly right here without the big retard brake on it, barreled with the abutment collar, which is right here. This was a nutted assembly. Understand, this Noreen is not any kind of, they call it an accuracy platform, but it's not. This stock is not Noreen. If you look up Noreen, you'll see the configuration. It's got an aluminum block and it's got a big floppy thing hanging out the front, and it's got some chains hanging off the back that you're supposed to, and they're fun to shoot, but they shoot like crap. You know, they shoot like a 12 gauge with slugs, in my opinion. So, but this is the first action. Now, this particular barreled action and bolt assembly is already 12 pounds. So I might start skeletonizing this. I might bash, if I remember right, this is like a 3-pound action. But this is all that was available. This was the lightest assembly. This action at 3.5 pounds was a lot lighter than, so I bought one just to cannibalize, just to tear apart. And, well, actually, I'll show you here because if you don't want to take the time to look it up on the inner tube, here's a fraction of the parts I'm throwing away. This is the Noreen assembly with a collapsible stock and a da-da-da-da-da and a big old honky, and this is drilled in and it flops around out there. It's less stiff than my finger. So anyway, these are the parts we're not using. We're chucking these in the wood pile. But we've got ourselves an action, and I was able to time this. I was able to play with it, get the handoff good, get it smoothed up enough to where it's reasonably useful. So now though, we're already at 12 pounds. This barrel started off, this is the end that was way out here. So the first thing as I did is I cut this down to 24 inches. So this will set some parameters. We're going to go with 24-inch barrels on my things. A lot of hunting guns are 22 to 24 inches. And all of you people that have never built anything in your life think that it's all about long barrels and velocity and you're all a bunch of hot rods and you're, you know, to you there's a big difference between 800 horsepower and 850 or 900 horsepower, and when in reality it isn't even about the horsepower in your hot rod. It's about setting the car up to handle any horsepower more than the 220 that you came with stock or the 400 that you might be running. A whole lot of other things that have to do. Well, this is the same problem. I decided to go 24 inch for the same reason that street rod builder might say, okay, I'm going to go with 500 horsepower because that's enough. 24 inch barrel, I'm going to lose maybe 100 feet per second from the standard setups, from what it came with. And we're probably looking at 15, 30, and maybe 120 feet. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Anyway, I would say cutting this off probably took 100 feet per second. Now, feet per second are absolutely meaningless in the real world. I'm not one of those people. I long ago went through my whole flat shooting, hard, laser beam. All of this stuff about a gun being flat shooting and shooting like a laser beam, whatever, is childish stuff. In reality, anything beyond 350 yards, you must measure and account for velocity drop. Forget about some guns. So anyway, velocity is meaningless to me. If I had the original barrel, I could hand load this thing and get 15,000 foot-pounds of energy out of it. Now I knocked it down, I can probably only get 14,000 or 13,500. The point is I can still get so much energy out of this that is completely useless in the real world. I can easily, with a 24-inch barrel, still get up into 25, 26, even 2,700 foot range, where with the full-length barrel I might be getting 2,750, 2,800, and the guys that are shooting 40-inch big honking barrels are getting a little more. You might get up 3,000. Again, this is designed for one bullet and one bullet only, 750 grains, well, and up. But our first thing is trying to get the weight down. So I got the smallest action that I could find. Noreen firearms. It came with this barrel that I cut off. It was this big at the muzzle. Remember, this was the muzzle out here. I cut part of it off. I tapered it in my lathe. I cut it down to 24 inches. and I tapered it down. Now I'm going to end up probably going a little smaller with this, but I'm going to start heavy. I'm going to start at 22 pounds and work back from there. I'm going to shoot this thing for a while with the stock still kind of, I've got drawings on here. I'm starting to decide where I'm going to cut it down to, how far I'm going to knock out of here, what I'm going to do. But the bottom line is this Noreen, I'm going to have a hard time coming in at under 25 pounds. Right now, this block, which I can easily lock about 6 or 8 pounds of, right now we're holding, I haven't weighed it, but weighing up the components, we're holding close to 30 pounds right here now. Now, in that regard, I have a second one. Again, we're talking about the weight scenario here. This is another one. Please don't pick on me for the look. Please understand that I prototype, all right? It's what I do. Prototypes have to start somewhere. So, this one starts with a State Arms, which I want to get another one because as soon as I got a hold of one of these, the minute I saw one of these, I bought it because I thought, this weighs into my thing. It's got some problems. This knob in the back, I've already taken some stuff. But here's an action that I can get down to, I don't know, somewhere in the pounds, under 2 pounds range. And this one timed out and got, this is a, sorry about this, I just about dropped it there. It does close pretty, it hands off pretty good. And again, this is the same as that other one. The bolt comes completely out of it. So I'm building a catchment area back here in the back. The other one you could see the catchment because it already had the groove in there, and you can take the bolt and drag it back and it'll sit there. So for hunting, for target practice, whatever, I'm taking bench rest practice. Got the 3-inch wide forearm. Now this one's all just cobbled together and bolted together. It's all in pieces. This piece and this piece and these pieces. What I'm doing here is skeletonizing and putting together. Plus, I detest these stupid pistol grips. Detest, detest, detest. I hate it. But this is a test of concept, and I can say that right now. I'm holding 16 pounds here with the big muzzle brake. With this muzzle brake. Some of the things that we're testing with this muzzle brake, and it's also fitted with another muzzle brake, and we're going to go through, we're going to talk about these. These are interesting, these are fascinating, these are beautiful things. These are not threaded, by the way. We're going to talk about that. Most brakes are threaded. Threads offer some accuracy problems in the same sense that the threaded joint. This one, this is a Lilja barrel. It started out like this Lilja, right here. I can't get the lettering to show. It's too much light in here. It's just nature of the beast. I put that bright thing up there. And let me try this. I'm just going to see if this works. It might help. I just turned off a huge light assembly over the top of this thing. I've got a camera that picks up light better than an auto. It can see in the dark. The first time I got it home, there's a whole bunch of kids over here. And I took this thing out on a dark night, and I'm walking around behind the camera, and I came around the corner, and there's a couple kids necking. Standing off in the pitch dark, being really quiet and giggling, knowing that I can't see them. And luckily I wasn't taping and I wasn't videoing, and I have no issues with it. It's just disconcerting. This camera adapts to light like crazy, but it's a Sony something or another. All the camera guys know what it is. So it doesn't need any more light. I'm throwing too much light as it is. But right now we're spending this episode talking about how we're getting the weight down. And I can say this, that we've already got it here. But this is a prototype. This is a bolt together prototype. And I put the biggest muzzle brake on it, for starters, because of the fact, I'll just show you this since I have it in my hand. That's a true peg of a brake. Don't pick on my machining. Again, I'm prototyping here. The pleasure and looks and all of that comes later. Right now we're looking at getting something that will work. And this brake, point by point I'm going through and using this big hog of a thing to illustrate some of the things that we're dealing with on guns throughout the system. All the other guns that I've been working on. I talked about and showed the world's biggest muzzle brake. Okay, it's got all these blocks. The problem is that would fall apart. These are actually over an 1/8 inch thick. Everything on here is designed with straps and weights. This is actually a pretty good sized block of steel right here. This thing should be able to take the hit that this gun generates and pull it back off of me so that I don't die. This brake presents 18 square inches. It's the biggest muzzle brake you've ever seen on a 50 BMG, but understand something. We're doing something that's never been done. Let's be clear. I took the muzzle brake that came on the 35-pound Noreen and just chucked it in my box of sacrificial steel. Because it's no good to me for anything. It'll hold down a 35-pound gun. That gun, the way it came, this gun, no, not this one, the Noreen I was showing you earlier, came at a 35-pound gun. Comfortable to shoot. Kicked like a .6. Slapped you in the face because the muzzle brake was... So the few things about this muzzle brake that you need to notice are, number one, the gas redirection ports here in the back, such that when the bullet exits, the first gases that leave here are up and forward, so that as these start to pop, it's already got a curtain going up and away from you. A design that I've tested and proven on small stuff, but we'll see when I touch the trigger on this big bad belt. It might just be that much worse. But the point is there's reasons for all the things here. There's a little pop hole here to get things going for direction. These are angled and they pop. Pop, 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 and it's going to direct the gas, hopefully, away from me. So, anything that anybody's ever told you about rocket propulsion and muzzle brakes and how things work and how angling back and sending those gases back around you somehow makes it more effective is only showing you that the people that are talking don't know what they're talking about. So, in simple fact, we hit the sheets of plywood. We need big holes. That's another reason that my world's biggest muzzle brake here can't work. Number one, even if I build it out of titanium, it'll just come apart and I'll die. But number two, all of these plates in here aren't as effective as they could be because I don't have enough escape hole. The gas comes in, it impinges, but it can't get out enough, so then it carries its... because it can't get out of the way, there's a chance it's going to disrupt bullet flight. That one there is designed for a subsonic 50 cal gun. It doesn't work. Nothing will stop a subsonic. This 50 BMG will kick less than that subsonic 50. I haven't been able to figure out how to get the subsonic because this 50 BMG has a bunch of gas to work with. So, weight issue. We've managed to get the weight. This is just adjustable on all dimensions. It's just bolted together so you can see it right now, but it's already light. We've already achieved our lightness problem with this. So whether I get to that with the Noreen gun, or I don't think so. I think the Noreen gun, single shot, is going to end up being a 20-pound gun. I've been calling this guy that makes these actions for months. I don't know if the company's bankrupt or what, so I might have to buy some more of these off eBay. But if this works out, I'm going to get some more of these little Eastridge State Arms actions. Because I think we can make our packable. Now, is it going to shoot? I don't know. That's why I bought this billet aluminum. And I cut out, I've got a spare one for that in case I need it. We're doing two different things here. We're building one with these bolt together hardware store parts, and it might just shake and never shoot right. We're building the other one, and I would be building this on a State Arms, but I can't get another State Arms, so I'm having to use the Noreen. And in the ensuing episodes, you'll start to see this thing taking shape as I start whittling this stock down, taking weight off, try to get this down to 20 pounds. I got to knock a bunch of weight off of this to get it down to 20 pounds. But the goal here is this is going to be a billet of aluminum, specifically because flex and vibration control. Remember, I'm using these to illustrate the problems that we've been dealing with this whole time. This is how I'm using the 50 BMG to test the flex on the system in a light system. In the past, just like bench rest guns have always been glued together in a stiff stock, BMGs have always been bolted together into a big stiff stock and weigh 35 pounds. Cutting that down in half and still trying to get rid of the flex is that's the things I'm exposing you to right now, is my ideas how to do that.